guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So it's now our YouTube channel because you are part and parcel of it. So I asked you to give me questions or to ask questions that are relating to adoption, and I will do a full video responding to them because I realized most of the videos that I post relating to my adoption or the journey of bringing my daughter home, I usually get some questions. So I just wanted to do a full video answering all your adoption questions. So if your question was not answered here, just leave it in the comment section so that every day after the end of the video that I post, I'll be answering those questions. So the first questions that we got, just a minute. The first question that I got was from Michael. So Michael was asking, I just wrote them manually in this book. Yes, because I didn't want to go the extra mile of printing. It's very, very expensive. Michael asked, you resemble each other from skin to the face. How did the match occur? Did they study your blood match? So there is no blood match that they do. They don't ask for your blood group. I don't know what he meant by blood match, but there is no blood test involved when they are doing matching. What they do, you give them your pictures. It can be your picture, your spouse picture, your children's picture. Then from those pictures, they look for some physical features from you, your spouse, or your children that looks like the baby that is freed for adoption. It's called your profile. So from those pictures, if they see a close resemblance between you or your spouse or your children to the baby, they match you with that child. So that is how they do the matching. No blood testing or blood matching involved. They just look at the physical feature, the facial feature. I think maybe the forehead, the nose, the eyes, the mouth, or the ears, or the size of the face. Is it oval? Is it round? Yeah, those things like that. Then Zayli is asking, Zayli is more saying, not asking, what my 1,000 attention for real. I've been thinking of adopting a baby too, though the whole thing was scary, but now I'm glad it's not. You make it look easy. You're welcome, Zayli. The process is not very long and it's not very scary. It's very easy, it's very smooth. And if you started watching this video from last year, I was explaining bits by bits on what is happening, and I have a playlist that is explaining my journey. So you're welcome, and I hope you start the process and it will be smooth for you too. Then we have Nadia. Nadia is asking, how can I start the process for adoption? You've inspired me a lot and I would like to adopt. All adoptions in Kenya start at registered adoption agency. So make sure that the agency is registered and is licensed. Every year they have to replace their license. So if they didn't replace their license, even if they are registered, then your application will not reach the adoption committee. So make sure the agency you're using is registered or registered and licensed. Yes, very important. So you must go to the adoption agency in Nadia. Then Michael is asking, how will it go with working class people since annual leave is just 1 month? I think he was asking that if annual leave is just working, okay, people who have given birth, they always have 3 months maternity leave. And for people who are adopting, the government gave us 30 days, 30 calendar days, not 30 working days, 30 calendar days for adoption leave. So if you work in an organization or a company that gives you the annual 21 days annual leave, 21 working days annual leave, and you combine with these 30 calendar days, it becomes 60 days. So that is 2 months, which is even better than nothing or better than before, because from 2019 there was nothing like adoption leave. So it was just the annual leave or you don't take it at all. So at least now we have those 30 calendar days, and hopefully in future it will be more, especially for people who are adopting children below 4 years, who are still more young and more delicate. Yes. So then the next question is from Glory Gives Glory. Why do you have to spend 3 months in Kenya to adopt? Okay, what I meant is after you are placed with the baby, you have to be in Kenya because the 3 months is called bonding period. These 3 months, the home will still be checking on the child. You are supposed to be reporting to the home or to the agency every month so that they can check your progress and maybe check if there's something that they need to attend to. And also, you are supposed to spend these 3 months with this child. So if you are not staying in Kenya and you are placed with a child, then you leave the child to bond with some other people or maybe the house help. That will not be fair to the child. That one is now not in the best interest of the child. So the 3 months bonding, you have to be with the child because you are the one who is bonding with this child. Imagine just having a child, then you leave the child. It's tricky. It's very tricky. So that is why I said you must spend 3 months with the child during bonding period. Then Diana Wanga is saying, I want to give my baby up for adoption. Please help me. Okay, Diana, this is what happened. Adoption starts in registered adoption agency. Same way for a mother or a father who wants to give up their children for adoption, you also go to the adoption agency. Just go to any adoption agency that is close to you. Tell them your case. And of course, they will ask you questions. Why do you want to give your child for adoption? Because adoption is permanent. Adoption is not just taking a child to stay in an orphanage. Then you will pick up the child when your situation has improved. Once you give up that child, you will not even be told the family that has adopted that child because all Kenyan adoptions are closed. So when you go to the agency, they will take you through what you are needed to do. They will also do for you some sort of counseling. Then they will give you 6 weeks to think about it. Then after 6 weeks, that's when you can sign up your parental rights. You can give up your parental rights and you free the child so that the child can be adopted. Then the committee now will decide whether they can free that child for adoption. So all the best, Diana, but I just hope that your situation improve and you are able to raise your child because all children belong with their biological family. So in an event that the biological family cannot take care of the child or extended family, that is when the child is given up for adoption. So I hope your situation improve and you take care of the child. But if you can't, visit the registered adoption agency. So Verona Trading is asking, what are the charges for adoption? So adoption can be as cheap as you want and as expensive as you want. For instance, if you use the government agencies called Child Welfare Society of Kenya, they charge 0 shillings. They will not charge you anything for the process. And when you use the registered adoption agency, the amount of money is usually regulated by the government. I think there's a standard 12,250 that the government put that must be paid. I don't know whether they've increased it, but it is usually paid in installment. Then each agency, they add some sort of money because of how they are operating. They have to do the home visit, they have a lot of things that they are doing, but the total money that goes to the agency usually does not exceed 20,000 shillings paid in installments. And when you look at the legal process also, if you decide to hire a lawyer, it will be an agreement between you and the lawyer. So the lawyer may demand as much as 35,000 to 300,000 or 500,000 depending on the lawyer and depending on your pocket. Also, you can decide to do self-representation where you represent yourself in court, and in that case you will not spend even a single cent. It will be free for you. So it can be free as you want or as expensive as you want. And also when it comes to the agency, there are people who are doing adoption but they also want somebody to help them along the way. So they hire a lawyer from the time they are going to visit the agency, do those things. So the money becomes expensive. So that is the point where it is now the person who is working for you will be quoting for you their own money and the people will be paying the agency. So it depends. But if your heart is in the child, you don't have to spend money adopting. It can be free as you want or as expensive as you want. Because these children need homes and they are not bought. So that is why we can't put a price on adoption in Kenya. Then we have 93 is asking, is a couple need to be married for a long time to adopt. So the minimum for couple, you have to be married for at least 3 years. And when I say marriage, it doesn't mean the marriage we do in Kenya where dowry has already been taken, or you did the traditional marriage. No, I'm speaking about the civil marriage where you have a marriage certificate, not church wedding. Civil marriage, you know, in church wedding you're given marriage certificate, and also when you go to the registrar, to the attorney general, is it the attorney general? I'm not so sure. If you do civil marriage, you also get the marriage. It is the same. That marriage certificate is the same. So you must have a marriage certificate for at least 3 years. So if you've stayed for long, you don't have a marriage certificate and you want to do adoption, I will advise you the first thing is to go and register your marriage. Then you go to the agency. So the agency are always very understanding. Like if you go and tell them we've just legalized our marriage but we'll be married the past 10 years, they usually also consider that, because these are also Kenyans and they understand how marriage in Kenya works. Because so many couples in Kenya are married but they don't have the marriage certificate. Yes. But in adoption, because it is a legal process, they need that marriage certificate as an evidence that you two are married. Then we have Leah Fancy. Leah is asking, I'm from US now, what do I need to do to adopt the child? So it depends. If you are in the US and you are American citizen, you cannot adopt a child in Kenya. But if you are in the US but you are a Kenyan, you just relocated because of work or greener pastures, but you still have that Kenyan citizenship, you can still adopt a child in Kenya. So, but you will have to come back, do the process. So I think the easiest way is to come back, visit agency, do the process, you do home visit, those counseling and everything, all the paperwork. Then you leave them, you go back. After approval, you wait. But immediately they tell you matching has been done. You have to prepare yourself psychologically to be here, to bond with the child for 3 months, then you start the court process. Then after the court process, when you have the adoption order and the birth certificate, then you can process passport and relocate with your child abroad. But if you are not a Kenyan citizen, then that's not possible. Then Lisa Matange. Lisa is asking, and are the requirements the same with a disabled child or child with special needs? Yes and no. So requirements are the same. The only thing that is different is when you see the adoption of a boy child from a single parent, like a single lady, you can only adopt a female child for first adoption unless you have a biological child or you've adopted before. But as a single lady, even if you don't have a child and you want a special need, then you can even be given a boy. You understand? Yeah, for special needs, they are also categorized under special cases. So a single male can only adopt a male child, but under special circumstance where they want a special needs child, or they are adopting a sibling. But for special needs, I think the requirements now does not dwell so much on the gender and also on the age of the child. Yes, and by the way, special needs children also need homes. So if your heart is into special needs adoption, I salute you. That is so big. So they also give the same. Then there are some homes, some orphanages. When they place you with a special needs child, there's a way they help you on some things like maybe medication, if the child needs a wheelchair, or if the child needs physiotherapy. So there are homes that also help even after you've taken the child home. They help you with some of the needs of the child, because special needs children, they need a lot of care, and also they are a bit expensive compared to other children, because maybe the child is on diaper 24/7, or the child needs to be taken for those checkups, clinics, and you pay. And sometimes you also need to take them to special needs schools, which are not cheap. So some homes are also very helpful with that. Then we have this one now. Michael asked so many questions, but I'm going to answer all of them. Can one adopt a child of a different race? In Kenya, no. Like the way I look like this, I cannot be given an Indian child. In Kenya, no. That is why they do the matching. If your race is like mine, African, you get also an African baby. I'll not be given Asian baby or a white baby. No. So in Kenya, your race, if you are mixed, they will also try to match you with a mixed child. Unless you are a couple, interracial couple, where one couple is black, another one is white, or one couple is Indian, another one is black. So that way they can give you a mixed race child. But the child may probably not be a mixed race, as I'm saying, but maybe the light skin and those long flowing hair. But for me, like somebody like me, I cannot be given a child of another race in Kenya. Only in Kenya. Maybe in future it will change. Then you know also Kenya is in Africa, so most of the children that are rescued are children of African descent. It's not easy to find a white baby freed for adoption in Kenya. So maybe in future the situation will change, because currently there's a lot of intermarriages going on. And for intermarriage, it's not a must that you'll be placed with a mixed child. No, you can be placed with dark or light, because one of the parents is dark, is brown, the other one is another color. Yeah, so the next question is, what is the minimum age and maximum age of a child to adopt? So for you, the person who is adopting, you must be at least 25 years old, but not older than 65. But for a child, you must be 21 years older than the child. Let me say, for instance, now, if I want to adopt a 10-year-old child, I will not be given, because I'm not 21 years older than the child. So you must be 21 years older than the child. If you are let me say, if you are 29 years right now, so the oldest child you can adopt is 7-8 years old, not older than that, unless they are special needs children. But you must be 21 years older than that child that you are adopting. After you have adopted, then there's no minimum age. So you must be 21 years older than the child, but there's no minimum that a child must be at least this number of years. No. You are supposed to choose the age that you want. When you go to adopt, you look at your age. You cannot adopt the child that you are not 21 years older than, but they will tell you to give them a range. I want 1 to 2 years, 0 months to 12 months, 2 to 3 years, 7 to 8 years. So it's not fixed that I want a 7-year-old. No, they always give you at least an allowance of a year or more, depending on the age group that you want. Then another question is, after you have adopted a child and you have officially taken him or her home with you, how long does it take for adoption agency officers to stop visiting your home to see the child progress? 3 months. Foster period is 3 months. After 3 months, you start the legal process. When you start the legal process, now it is the children's officer who will come to your home once to write a report. Then you finish your court process and the child is yours. So once the child is legally yours, nobody will come and check the child. They have to check for these 3 months, because they also need to do a report on how you're bonding with the child and the progress of this child. Then when the child, another question, when the child would grow up, adolescent stage, and try to be problematic by demanding to know his or her roots, how is it handled? So this is another topic that is called disclosure. I will also do a topic on that. But to summarize, the child, every human beings have the right to identity. This is the right of this child to know where they came from, to know how they existed, or how they came to your home. So if they demand to know, then as a parent, you also have to tell them. But I always advise that disclosure you start before the child reach adolescence, because adolescence comes with so many things, so many things that is going on in the mind of the child, and you don't want the child to find out that they adopted during adolescence. So it's good to tell the child early, before they reach adolescence. And also, you know, the way I told you, Kenyan adoptions are closed. So at adolescence, even if a child want to know, even if it was mother offer, you will not be given that information. And until they become adults, now it is them who can go and ask from the agency where you adopted, from the orphanage where you took them from. They can request for those files to check and also to find their roots. But at adolescence, the only thing you can tell them is how they came to your family and maybe organize a visit to the orphanage. But not so much information will be given to adolescents. Hey, this is where you came from, this is where, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. And also, if a child becomes problematic at an adolescent stage, sometimes, it's good to enroll them for therapy, because most of these children have background of trauma, and maybe at that age they also have so much triggers from their past and they just need help. So it is not necessarily they demand to know. The behavior will just be a sign that there's something wrong somewhere, and that something wrong must be fixed or handled nicely. And one of the best way to handle them is through therapy, because sometimes you may fail to talk to even your biological child. They may start to act out and you're not able to talk to them as a parent, so you need to engage somebody else who can talk to them. Then we go to suppose another question. Suppose you visited one adoption agency with your photo and they haven't found a child that resembles you. Can they share the photo with another agency at least to try to find a child that almost resembles you? No. No, no, no. If one agency cannot find a child that resembles you, they cannot go to another agency. This is why. When it comes to approval, the committee is one that is handling all the cases of adoptions in Kenya, or for all the agencies. Then, the profile pictures, they share them with the orphanages or the homes. So you may find that I have a orphanage here, and I have profiles from 3 different agencies of parents. It is the orphanages who also have the children. And I will say, this child, I think the child matches this profile. So that is how the orphanages are helping, but not from one agency to the next. No. So it is not restricted that a child must be placed with one particular agency. I think different agencies can work with the same orphanage, but I'm yet to find out. Though I don't think one agency can call the other agency and we will not find a profile for this parent. No. Because the homes also receive these different profiles, and they also recommend this child can be taken to this family or this profile. And usually they always do a good job. It's very rare to find a situation where they never find a child that matches you. Very, 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 very rare. Very rare. And also, if you are open to any child, like me, my case, I was just open to any child, but I didn't care so much how the child is going to look like, or how the child ako vile anafanana. No, I didn't care. I just needed a child that needed a home, and I was open to any child. Yeah, so that is how they do it. But this area, I'm yet to find out if like, I don't think it happens. I don't think it happens. So I say I'm yet to find out. I don't think it happens. Then anonymous, this one did not say their name. Can you adopt 2 children at a go? Yes, as long as you can prove that you can take care of 2 children at the same time, you can do the process of adopting 2 children at a go. But you may not be placed with the 2 children at a go. Maybe the first child is freed on July, another child is freed on November. So the placements may differ unless they are siblings or they are twins, because normally when it comes to placements, agencies don't want to separate siblings. They also don't want to separate twins. They want the siblings to grow together. Can you adopt another child before legal process is done? No. Like right now, I've not yet completed legal process, so I cannot start the process of adopting another child until I am through with the process of this one that I have right now. Then the last question is, what is your thoughts on adoption, or do you have any question that I've not answered? Just leave it in the comment section. So people who are planning to adopt, I wish you all the best. Adoptive parents, congratulations. And the adoptees, the children, whether you are now an adult, you are very beautiful, wonderful people. And I hope you can share your experience also in the comment section. Even the adoptive parents, you can also share your experience in the comment sections. And friends of people who have adopted, you just love adoption but you've not adopted, you love the children who are adopted, you love the people who have adopted, you can also encourage someone, or let's interact in the comment section. So thank you so much for watching, and those are the questions that you guys posted, and I had so much fun answering them. Bye.